Greetings from North High School. My name is Andy Dolan and I'm principal here at North High School. It's my pleasure to be creating this podcast. This is one of 4 podcasts that you'll be receiving from our administrators with regards to things that we normally have covered during the workshop days in August. Our plans are to provide these podcasts so that it frees up some of your time to work individually or in groups at the start of the school term. So let's get started. I have 3 learning objectives for this podcast. I'd like to review the observational emphasis for this year. Each year, administrators go in and observe classes and provide feedback to teachers. And so I want to talk about our emphasis for this year. I would like to also talk about our RMS score, which is an acronym for the Reading, Math, Science scores on the NDSA, the North Dakota State Assessment. And then I have some reminders of odds and ends. The teacher model that we've adopted administratively here at North High School has 6 different components, and one of the components is the stating of the learning objective. Our emphasis is that each class period should start with a learning objective, and that means that the SWABAT, or the I can statement, is posted and referenced during the class period. And normally it's referenced at the beginning of the class period. I've seen them posted up on the marker boards, I've seen them on smaller whiteboards, I've seen them as a part of flip charts or even PowerPoints. But again, the SWABAT, which is an acronym for students will be able to, and then the objective for that class period. And the objective is usually different from day to day. It is also pointed and emphasized, and we find that that's helpful to students as they can focus in during the lesson on what's important. We also like to provide feedback about Prime Time 1. Prime Time 1 has shown to be an effective time of referencing the SWABAT, but also does the class start on time? How is the lesson introduced? What type of activities are going on during that first time? And that's a critical time to get kids focused in on what's important for that lesson. Also critical is at the end of the class period, Prime Time 2, it's the last 5 to 10 minutes of class, and what meaningful activities are going on? Has the SWABAT been pulled and reintroduced and reemphasized during that last few minutes of class period? And so we want to see effective use of that class period from beginning of the bell to the end of the bell, but those 2 times, the beginning of Prime Time 1 and the end of Prime Time 2, are critical in terms of effective lesson. We also want to see the continued use of formative assessments. Formative assessments are those types of informal things that go on during the class period that provide us feedback about how students are performing, and then what adjustments we're going to make in our teaching. Summative assessments, which are the end of units, the end of chapter type assessments, provide us kind of an overall view, but the formative assessments, the things that are done periodically, provide us information about what things we have to do differently as teaching goes on. So we'd like to provide feedback during our observations. We also like to have an emphasis about hallway rapport. Last year we referred to this as hallway presence, but actually as we thought about it this summer is that what we want is more interactions with teachers and students and to react to inappropriate behavior. One of the data collection things that we found was that bullying occurs most frequently in the hallway. And so for us to be having a rapport and having conversations and then reacting to inappropriate behavior is important for us to improve on. And then finally, we ask that there's increased use of reading and writing within the class period. Research indicates that more reading and writing is critical in terms of student performance and student achievement, and so we believe that even some of our time in class periods should be spent reading and writing. We'd like to provide feedback. Obviously it's maybe easier in some curricular areas than others, but if you can incorporate that and adopt that into your area, it'd be helpful. So this model that you see here maybe helps you remember the emphasis that we have in terms of when you're creating your lesson designs, to incorporate some of those things that are proven effective strategies. I'd like to go to this screen. What is the RMS? RMS is an acronym for Reading, Math, and Science, and R represents, as I said, reading, and M is math, and S is science. And our score last fall, 2012, was 221. That meant that we were second in reading in the state in Class A schools, second in math, and first in science. It's a very good score. We should be really pleased with regards to that. Also, one other thing that I did is I took a look at and combined the percentages of kids who were advanced proficient in each one of those categories and then summed those scores. And when we did that, our combined scores for reading, math, science, and also language arts, we were #1 in the state in Class A schools. So very good scores. And most of the time our scores are in the 75th to 80th percentile in terms of the ones that are proficient. And so we understand, though, that still 20 to 25% of our kids are not. And so our strive and our goal is always to get 100% compliance. And so we still have some work to do, obviously. Students have some work to do, but again, we should be very thankful that we have a great school here and that you're a part of that. I have some odds and ends I'd like to cover during this podcast. And first of all, our students are going to be receiving a personal learning tablet during the first day in their language arts classes. And so they're going to be excited about that. We also believe that that first day is critical in setting the tone for the year, but also we want to make sure that it's just not a review of all the policies and procedures that we have. We should spend more time trying to create some enthusiasm, some, as I call, shock and awe with regards to what our kids are going to learn during that class period. And so enjoy the first day. It's a chance for us to renew acquaintances with some kids and then start new ones with others, and so it's a critical day. First assessment is in the first couple of weeks will be happening, and that we suggest that you probably spend an extra day or two just making sure that kids get off on the right foot. I think when a student has traditionally struggled in a subject area and then they don't do very well on the first assessment, that they maybe go back into the same mode. I can't understand this. I don't understand why I'm even in this class, and so they get that defeatist attitude. And so we ask that you overteach and to spend a little bit of extra time with regards to making sure that they're going to be successful on that first assessment. Also this fall, we'll provide complimentary membership to people who fill out the membership form. It'll be some form that'll be in your mailbox at the beginning of the year. And PTSA supports our school in a variety of ways, and we ask that you become a member of that, but again, it's only if you fill out the membership form. Also, our social dues are $20, and it goes to a variety of areas. One of the areas is for celebrations, weddings, and births, and those types of things, but also condolences to people who have experienced the loss of someone else. And so it covers some of those types of things that we've recognized in the past. It also is the end of the school year barbecue that we've had before, and so we hope that you're able to find the money to support the social fund. If you're a part-time employee or a traveling teacher, it's prorated. Also, I want to just put in a plug for United Way. North High School has led the district in support of United Way. I think last year we raised almost $18,000 from individual contributions along with activity club contributions, and again you'll see something part of October, and so we ask that you at least think about that as you get towards that time. Also, if you haven't found your staff ID, we'd like you to do that. It's an expectation that all staff wear their IDs during the course of the day. It's also a good idea to put the period bell schedule on the back of it because of our different bell schedule. Also, I'd like to spend on this last screenshot here on policy review. We have a policy about profanity. We have 3 different areas: directed at a staff member, or if it's slippage in the commons or in the hallways of the classroom, and then swearing at another student or staff member. And so we have a policy. You'll see a handout in your mailboxes, and so we ask that you support that policy. We also have a cell phone policy. Cell phones are permitted now in the commons during the class or during the lunch periods, and so we've probably seen less involvement in the class periods. But if your students' cell phones go off in classrooms, or if they're using it during class periods for a non-educational reason, we ask that you confiscate the cell phone and give it to Mr. Blanchett. We also have a no hat, no pop rule at North High School, and we ask that you support that. And then I want to spend just a little bit of time here with alcohol drug referral. I created a flow chart here not so long ago that tells us the order in which we should report that information. What's most critical in this flow chart is making sure that you call the office as soon as you suspect a student to be under the influence of alcohol or drugs. So call the main office there. The main office would get a hold of a principal, and the principal would go to the student and accompany them to to the office and then do the investigation. It doesn't do us too much good if it's a couple days later or even at the end of the day to get this information, because sometimes it's too difficult to do that investigation a day or two later, and so we prefer it to be done immediately. Well, that concludes my podcast. Again, I hope that you're having a great summer, and we'll look forward to seeing you here in the latter part of August. Thank you.